Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Jocelyn Lovely. So good to see you guys here today. This reading is a collective spread today. I wanted to make it for Capricorn, but I'm like, no, this is a collective widespread. Definitely. All right, so I had to use the Black Moon Astrology card deck today. I'm really excited about it because I had a lot of just energy, a lot of realizations that are happening collectively. So I'm excited about that, you guys. Yep. All right, guys. Grab your popcorn, grab your wine, your tea. Oh, actually, it's 9 in the morning, so don't get your wine right now or whenever this reaches you. Get your snacks, get whatever you need, get settled. If the reading resonates with you, like, share, and subscribe. Let's get started, guys. All right, so we started off with Gemini, I think. What I really liked about this was it's almost as if like Source was asking you to it's like you were receiving data but it wasn't correct, or you were missing a piece of the puzzle, and it was asking you to look at things from a higher perspective. And so maybe it was coming to you through dreams. You were having dreams where you were wondering why they were leaving you really sad, they were leaving you depressed, you were feeling alone. You weren't understanding these dreams that kept coming. It was different dreams every night, but it was the same feeling of like feeling left out or feeling alone or feeling like sad. And then you kept wondering why. And then it's like you finally collected the piece. It's almost as if these last 6, 7, 8 months have really been focused on deepening your relationship with self at a deeper level, at a higher. In order for you to step into this higher, deeper connection with self, you needed to first understand why you needed to, right? It's almost as if like you were trying to break out of addictions or patterns that you kept doing your whole life, or it wasn't just your whole life, it wasn't just you. It seemed to me like it was like a family dynamic that a lot of you guys were dealing with because it was what you were raised to do or raised with. So from there on you were like, okay, this is what I'm used to doing, this is how I cope with situations, and that's all I've ever known, right? But these last, like I said, 8 months have been about transformation, changing that, no longer being the same. And then you knew that in order for you to do that, you needed to deepen your relationship with Source. But a lot of us, okay, maybe all of us, we had trust issues. There were trust issues with the divine, and that's why it was so difficult for you to really sit and meditate and heal. It was too difficult due to the last stage, right? That last stage was really, really terrifying and really traumatic. And every time you tried to deepen your relationship with Source, something came in from the past that made you even more terrorized, or it kind of took you, it was like every time a tower hit, it took you back to that fear stage where you were like, fuck that. This is why I don't even try to get in tune with the divine. This is why I don't even try to leave. This is why I don't even trust or try, because it always goes back to the same BS, and I'm stuck at the same place, at the same position, where I'm left with nothing but heartbreak, right? And so it was like going from that to fully trusting. You knew it was going to be a huge long path, a very difficult path, arduous journey, but you still decided to go through with it because that last tower was so bad. You were like, man, I gotta change. I can't stay stuck or stagnant where I was at. It's not possible. I don't want to keep learning these lessons again. I got to move forward. So what do? You finally agree, all right, Source, I admit I can't, I don't want to do this anymore, right? So then you get to step phase 1, right? Which is admitting that you have no control over these addictions. You literally are in pain. You literally, it was really you struggling because at one point you really thought, I got this. I can change. I don't need the divine's help. Or I don't, just because of my fear of trust, I can't do that. I can't go there, right? So it took so long for you to understand that you were powerless. You had no control over your addictions. You couldn't change. You could, even if you tried, even if you did want to, you couldn't because of the trust issue. So then you started praying and you started saying, okay, well, something's got to budge. So it has to be me, obviously. So you do, right? It's like, and I want you to think about this. It's like all of a sudden we're showing this. It's like you got hit with this tower, right? And it's this realization, like I was saying, that you had to get out of there. It was time to go somewhere else. It was time to live a different life. And then you got Capricorn, right? This energy. Remember, Capricorn's planetary rule. The ruler of this planet for Capricorn is Saturn. But look at this picture of this goat. It's almost as if this lightning strike from the cosmos. It's almost as if higher self is giving you this insight. This insight's coming all the way away from the realms, right? Or the realms, wherever you want to see it. This was you for a long time. Like I said, restricted. I'm just telling you everything that was in the cards. Restrictions, feeling left out in the cold, feeling like you can't figure it out. You can't understand why. It's like why you have trust issues, but it's like you can't understand why. From a heart perspective, you right, because of the green, you can't really understand why you needed to surrender. You didn't understand the process of admitting surrender, right? It was almost as if like, yeah, you were powerless, but you were not happy with admitting that. You were like, fuck that, I'm powerless, but I don't like to admit that. There's a part of you where the ego needed to be shed, or you needed to be humbled with that reality, right? Knowing that you have no control over these addictions. And so what do you think happens next? It's almost as if, like I said, the world, right? From a higher perspective, the world, higher self had to show you why. And so all of a sudden, it's like, with this insight that Source gave you, it's like either your pineal gland opened up, or some part of you just started seeing your surroundings for what it really was. It's like your surroundings were showing you exactly what you needed to see, but you couldn't do it at the time because you were the stubbornness within everybody, right? It's the fear of change. I always want to say it in a good way, right? This fear of change makes us stubborn, right? So then we get to phase 2, which is having faith. But after all these months, you just realized, like you said, I'm powerless, but I need help. So what do? You start praying for the willingness to just have faith. And so these last few months, it was arduous, but you again, everything that was mirroring back to you made you realize that people weren't your salvation. The way you were doing things, even your addictions, weren't going to save you, because you were bargaining with the devil. You were bargaining for or devaluing yourself, or settling for something that for less than what you were worthy of or what you deserve. And then you started seeing it, right? All of a sudden you started seeing people who mirrored back to you, not even just the low self-esteem, but like the people who settled for less. You saw these people and realized you don't want to be like them. Your surroundings made you realize that it was dull. You were living a very Saturn energy, like very restricted, very constrained, very dull, lifeless energy, lifeless environment. Even the people around you, was like, it just didn't even seem like you belonged there. You weren't happy there, right? And the people around you weren't happy either. And you were like, man, this isn't even worth fighting for. Why am I sitting here struggling to surrender, wanting to surrender, to have faith? Why am I struggling to even want to have faith when where I'm living at now isn't even worth living for? You know what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense here. So then all of a sudden you're like, screw this. I want to have faith. So you start healing. You start healing this pain. You start seeing these people mirror back to you, the pain, the low self-esteem, the shame, the lack of forgiveness within yourself, right? It's like not just forgiving your higher self, because it is forgiving yourself, right? But it's like forgiving yourself for all of for staying stagnant for too long. Forgiving yourself for not realizing that you were only hurting yourself. Forgiving yourself because it was just so painful. And you didn't want to change. Because every time you did, it hurt you. It was like you're getting stabbed again, right? Dealing with all the pain that you just couldn't deal with at the time. That's why you didn't want to change. It was too much. And then now it's like you got the opportunity to heal and change. And it's just still too much. But now you know that you're doing it for a reason. It's like you have faith that there's a better tomorrow. That's why you're willing to heal that shit today. So that you don't bring that pain with you where it reflects outwardly towards everybody else, and realize that you're vibrating with people who also aren't as happy. Right? There you go. All of a sudden it's like I transform. Scorpio. Going into the depths of hell within yourself. That heartbreak, that heartache, everything, and you heal it and you clear it and you pray for the willingness to do this. So you spend every single day crying, embarrassed, and feeling shame because you can't understand why you're still so obsessed or stuck in the past. You couldn't understand it. It's like your mind was trying to force yourself to move forward, but you couldn't because your heart was being left behind. And so you decide to sit in that pain with your heart. Ooh. And all of a sudden it's like you understand it. You can forgive yourself now. Because you don't want to hold yourself back anymore. And so what happens next, it's like, because you were healing, right? Those 6, 7, 8 months of healing while everybody was out there celebrating life or getting drunk or going back to their addictions, you were like, fuck that, I don't want to play that game anymore, because I know where that ends and I'm not interested in that anymore. I'm interested in a new life that I can't even possibly understand yet, but I know that my heart wants to believe again. My heart has faith again. My heart wants to surrender because it knows that there's something out there that I'm meant to experience, or we're all meant to experience, right? But you can't do that until you heal. So you're starting to heal, and guess what? Look at the image, looks very, very similar in a way. You transform life's debts. You use Scorpio energy in December to help you, November, December, to help you change. Like I said, this is like 6, 7, 8 months of continuing to work on yourself because you knew it was time. And so this whole time you were feeling like there was nothing there for you. You were in the dark, in the void, like not understanding, right? The mind was trying to get the fuck out of there because it just couldn't deal with that pain. But then you sat there and you're like, man, I gotta do this. I don't care how hard it is. I know some of us were fucking sitting there eating, snacking, smoking, drinking, doing something, like spreading our addiction somewhere else because it's all we can do at the time. You can't literally go cold turkey on every single area of your life and every addiction because it's impossible. But you did. Every day you tried. You try to shed, even if it was shedding one tear, even if it was like being kind to yourself, even if we were like this, shaking. I know it doesn't sound nice, but there's a lot of people out there dealing with addictions. That's why I'm talking about it. We all have some type of fucking addiction. Some of our addictions are really out there, right? And so anybody who deals with addiction knows that this is a one day at a time game. Even though, the mind has this thought that we're going to be able to get out of it one day. That if we heal this specific addiction, then we'll be free for the rest of our lives. But we know that's not true. It's a one day at a second game. And so that's why it is required of us to want to believe or have faith that one day we'll be able to surrender. So what happens next? The truth, right? Look at this person really waking up to the thought or the idea that now that you have faith, you don't have to move the mountains. Source does it for you. All you needed to do was have a little bit of faith, and guess what? Things started changing. You started seeing progress. You do. You start to see it, and all of a sudden it's like, even if you're doing good one day, the next day you fuck it up. Completely fuck it up. And then and some of us here are so hard on ourselves, right? Especially addicts. We're so hard on ourselves. Doesn't even have to say, it doesn't even have to be like, I'm saying as in like an addiction for that everybody deals with, right? Or like just circumstances that everybody deals with. We're so hard on ourselves because we can't manage to move forward, right? Or we fuck it up one day and it's like it's over, right? But it's like, no, that's not how it works. That's one day at a time. And so a lot of people here are really, really trying to be as loving, as forgiving as they can be, because they're realizing that that's the way Source sees all of us. Source wants us to have more loving energy. Source wants us to be that loving to ourselves, because it understands this is really hard. All of us are breaking out of patterns that our families could not. Right? Some of our family members are still coping, right? Still doing old are still in their patterns, right? Still using the same coping mechanisms that we used to do, right? And we don't judge them for it, right? But all we can do is focus on ourselves. And so, like I said, the truth is, you have faith, and guess what? It's time to surrender, right? Again, though, not understanding that you cannot surrender, you have to pray. 1 minute at a time. And when you do mess up, because we all do, be as kind as possible, because I'm telling you, you're transforming your life. You've never been in this stage of your life. You've never lived in this way before, right? And so that's the whole point of surrendering. You get to stage 3, right? In order for you to pursue life purpose, in order for you to do that, you're opening your heart and trusting again in the divine, in God, right? It's learning to trust God, but you're praying, right? Like, hey, help me just today, for even for a minute, to just surrender to the moment and live like that, completely surrendered. And you're like, a lot of us are struggling. It's like you surrender and it's like it's too quiet. It's too still, and you haven't lived like this in a very long time. It's a new stage, it's a new reality. The possibilities are limited. All of a sudden, it's like you have to slow down. You're not running through the day getting, things done. You're not running through the day getting like running like a chicken with his head cut off, right? You're literally sitting there enjoying the moment, and it's scary. Anybody that knows that if you try to surrender completely, it's a very scary thing. But it's your deepest desires. It's literally your deepest desire. To be at whole and at peace with yourself. All of a sudden, it's like the moon reveals the truth. It illuminates the truth that you really want to surrender to the moment. Because that's when you were the most happiest. That's when a lot of you guys are starting to see it, right? It's like when you surrender and give it to God and ask for God for help, that's when something happens, something aligns for you, and then you're not out there acting out the way that you are. So, for example, if your addiction is people pleasing, right? And I always use this one because I'm guilty of it. If I'm a people pleaser, instead of going out there and doing what I do, because it literally could be an addiction, it could be considered codependency. If I'm out there doing that all day and I don't want to do it anymore, and I'm harboring resentment towards people, because of what I'm tired and I'm giving too much of my energy and I want to stay to myself. When you take that energy back, people are going to be pissed at you, right? People will be pissed at you. So it's like, how do you go on without caring what people think and not letting people get to you? How do you say no to people, right? And then when I pray and I surrender, that's when Source, for whatever reason, gives me like insight, or whatever happens in the moment for surrendering. It's almost as if I'm taking my power back and saying no, and not caring what people think about me, right? Because there's always going to be reactions. But if I let myself feel what that pain is, that resistance of I don't want people to hate me, when I really see it for what it is and I heal it, all of a sudden I can stay in the moment and heed the divine's message. And all of a sudden it's like I'm protected. I don't need to go out there and I don't need to lash out. That's just an example, right? There's another one, right? Let's say some of you guys are trying not to, you're staying away from like drugs, and you know that you can't be around these specific people because you're going to go out there. So what do? You go to program, or you are staying away from these people. And some part of you really wants to go out there. It really wants to go and get high. So what do? You surrender. You surrender to the moment. And then you get the specific instructions that are given to you to do. And when you do that, you always feel better. And think about it for a reason. Think about why the divine is giving you specific instructions in that moment. The only way you can heed those instructions is if you surrender and are in listening mode, right? If you listen, you're getting instructions. And when you heed those instructions, you are safe. You're literally being protected from putting yourself in a situation where you're going to go out there and get high. Or you're going to go out there and people please again, right? And I use those two as an example. Everybody has their own variety or ways of whatever they're dealing with. And so now you're starting to understand why it was important to surrender, right? To ask for the willingness to surrender, because you understand that they're just protecting you. It's for your best interest. So a lot of you guys are doing just that. You guys are literally accepting things for what they are, and you're no longer fighting yourself. You're heeding the guidance, and it shows. Because now you're not sitting there crying and hating yourself for doing things that you didn't want to do in the first place. Or you let go of these toxic ass friends that weren't serving you, toxic ass families, toxic ass exes that were not good for you. But you wanted to go back so bad, right? And then you finally hang out with them that last time and realize, what the fuck did I put myself through again? This motherfucker's a cheater. But I thought he needed me, or I thought I needed him. You don't. All of a sudden, one day you go from calling him every day to going through withdrawal, or going through the heartbreak and crying. And heeding, taking specific instruction from Source, and it's like it's protecting you. So you no longer go out there and live the same reality that you're tired of fucking living. That's just an example, right? Man, I'm giving you like 50 different examples at this point, because it's like everybody has something they're dealing with. If it's food, staying away from the freaking cupcakes. From the chips, right? When you're stressed, all you want to do is run to the snacks, but really it's just because you don't want to heal that pain. Like I said, that pain, it's fucking unbearable. And the people that I read for, it's mostly that. It's always, I'm talking about stuff like that. It's because it's not only that you've been through something, but it's like we were never taught to deal with things in a healthy way. And there's millions of people out there who were never taught how to deal with their emotions. And so now for the first time in your life, you're learning to deal with your emotions. Nobody else taught you that, but the divine taught you that. God taught you that. It's teaching you that every single day. And that's why I read for you guys. That's why I was instructed to do tarot, because I have so much that I'm learning. And I'm going through the same journey as you guys are. That's all it really is. There's a reason why you're drawn to the video, because we're going through the same thing. We're just doing it together. We're a family. Some of us didn't even have real families. Some of you guys spend the holidays alone. Let's talk about that. You guys were sitting there crying. Some of you guys were sitting there crying because you didn't have real family, and you went to visit your real family and it was a shit show, and you were like, this is why I don't see my real family. They're toxic as hell. I took my ass back home. Some of you guys didn't even want to put up with your toxic friends, so you didn't even fucking go out. You didn't even cook. Some of you guys just stayed there crying at home. This reading's for you guys. The ones that were literally sitting there and choosing not to go around the environments that just break you. Over time, they wear you down, and you don't want to do that anymore. So congratulations. Collective, man, you guys are amazing. You guys inspire me. A lot of us are going through this journey together. There's a reason why we all have to, we're all pushing through at the same time for a reason. We're all ascending at this time, and it's beautiful. And these are just fancy words of saying we're healing, we're doing the work that our parents couldn't do, our friends couldn't do, nobody else could do but us. For some of you guys have been so alone in your journeys for so long. Me too. That's why I started my tarot channel. I was tired of being alone. Not being around people that resonated with me or resonated with like the story, my journey. That's why I do it. And so I hope you guys are okay. I hope you guys, please, if you take anything from this message, just be so kind to yourself, because you did something that your parents wish they could have done. You did something your friends wish they could have done. You did something your family wish they could have done. That's it. So give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing a great job. That's what the reading is. Saying you're healing, you're doing everything right. These last 7-8 months didn't go for vain. You actually are moving forward with your life. That was confirmation. The universe is proud of you, because at the end of the day, you're literally surrendering and integrating with your higher self. It's not what the journey's about. The next stage is here. It seems endless because all we do is literally, it feels like void. We go through these stages left and right, only to find out that there's so many more stages, and we end up getting even more humbled than we were the first time around, really realizing that we know nothing. Man. But we're doing it together, guys. So, all right. That's all I have for my collective. I love you guys so much. This is Jocelyn Lovely Tarot. If you guys resonate with the video, like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. You don't even have to comment what you're dealing with, but you can always email me and let me know. I'm interested, Till next time.